My train can only get so hyped. He is hyped. Over 9,000. Fully erect hype.
Hi, I'm Eric.
I'm Jason.
Chris.
And we're IBIF first. Yay!
Yay!
When you accidentally trigger a hype train at the beginning of your stream because your own subs to your own channel kick in.
Yeah. When the owners hype up their own shit so much, which is just like hype train, it's just like, hell yeah, hype train.
And then I accidentally kept double clicking on the play and pause on the music, so I kept like as I'm trying to start this up.
I'm hyped.
Air horn, DJ Khaled. Oh wait, sorry, no. Welcome in, everybody. It's Tuesday. Okay, this does not feel like Tuesday. It feels like it should be Thursday.
No.
And all of us at work were saying that, like in my department, we're just like, oh my God, what the fuck is up with this Tuesday? Why can't it be Thursday? Like, it feels like Thursday. But, yeah, fuck this shit. It's a long week.
This is nuts. I've actually even been off all this week so far, and it still feels long to me.
Sweet. Are you off tomorrow? Because we could just bring Ronan over tomorrow and you can chill with him all day because he's off of school. But I still gotta work.
Bummer. You can if you want to. Honestly,
all that extra time to drive him over there. Tomorrow's not my office day. Are you kidding me?
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I'm driving right on by. I'll put him to work. I got yard work to be done. It's all right.
Oh, Thursday. I'll do that. I'll tell Shannon to be like
Thursday.
I'll be like, I'm gonna take him over to Jason's. Jason's gonna put him into some totally consensual labor.
Why would you say it like that? That sounds even worse. That sounds way worse.
It sounds worse, but on paper, it's better.
Oh my God.
Admit it.
Oh my God, I don't like this. No, I'm not
Totally
going to
legal.
I hate all of this.
Totally legal and
Labor.
consensual work.
Of a child.
He just happens to be a child.
Children
doing
are not,
yard work.
The phrase, like, for anything, you could be like, hey, you know what? My job is consensual labor, and that's true. It is consensual labor, but I fucking hate that phrasing. That is just the worst. Like,
what I'm hearing
I hate
is
it so
that
much.
Jason doesn't like the word
much.
consent. That's what I'm hearing. Jason, do we need to have a discussion about consent here?
Eric,
It's about the implication.
First of all, if you have to work for it, it's not consent. Oh my God.
Hey, Davey.
I hate it so much. I hate it so much that from now on, because one of my favorite things to say is like, well, how are you doing? I say, oh, still alive, just because it's like, whatever, bullshit. But if someone now says, how's work going? And I'm going to say consensual from now on because it's just like, what? Oh my God.
How's work been going? It's been going consensually.
It's extremely consensual. Oh man.
I can't, I don't even know. I hate it. I hate it so much.
I have all the level 1 emotes, by the way. I don't get to do a choo-choo.
Sucks for you.
When you know that you've
hyped
been
it up
on
good.
too many hype trains on Twitch that you own. I think I own all of them for every tier except for tier 5. Consensual, but with an awkward silence after.
Yes.
Yes, it has to be. I mean, that's good. I can't wait for my grandma to be like, "Oh, Jason, how's that job he got you doing?" Well, grandma, It's consensual.
and then she's gonna hear is the word sensual, and she'll be like, I don't know.
I knew that internet was just sex workers. I don't know why she's Southern, but that's what's happening right now.
To be fair, the internet is 75% sex workers.
The internet wouldn't exist without sex workers and porn. So you're all welcome for the consensualness of the internet.
You're listening to this podcast consensually.
100%. Thank God we don't ear rape over here. I mean, God, this is getting worse. This is getting worse.
It's just getting worse.
Video game podcast.
So
is what we do.
Alcohol.
Tied the child labor into.
Oh my God,
video games.
Wait,
I did see this brings up a meme I saw this past week, whereas in 1920 they banned child labor in the mines. 2020, most popular game amongst children, Minecraft. They yearn for the mines.
The children yearn for the mines. They do. It's stone cold facts. The children yearn for the mines.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there was some 1920s businessman being like, "See, I told you we shouldn't have took them out of the mines. They like that shit."
But here's the problem:
they want it.
If you go by the video games, you know what children also yearn for? Cockfighting.
That's true too.
True.
Wait, so if it's Pokemon, and the Pokemon are obviously happy to be pets because of course, is this consensual cockfighting?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Children also yearn to be cut men, as we talked about previously as well.
And pushermen and murderers and everything around the planet.
The corner guy, Phil, the word consensual was originally founded by a shady lawyer who was paid under the table by the mafia.
Now that's got to be Southern.
Probably
I do
not
say.
wrong.
I do say.
I do declare. I declare.
Consensual. Gotta get that big mouth movement going.
Consensual. She wanted it, Your Honor.
I do declare.
It was consensual. Yeah, that could be the case, yes.
I do declare consensuality. All right. I hate this word so fucking. I don't like this. Where we like? What did this even start with? The consensual child labor. What the fuck? Oh my God. Oh my God.
It started with doing yard work at your house.
So yes, Eric, to answer your question, I will put your child to work in my yard.
I love this. I've been binge watching SVU. Consensual is going on the list with moist.
I agree, Chad. I agree. It is up at that level right now, in my opinion. It is very close to that. So,
okay, what are we drinking? For me, it's a Huss night. I have myself a coffee kolsch,
nice,
and I also have a Papago Orange Blossom.
Nice. I love the orange. Have you tried the orange blossom in actual orange juice yet?
Once. It was pretty
good. A beer mosa, man. They're surprisingly good. They're surprisingly good.
It's a little too much sugar for 9 o'clock at night for me. I'm like, I don't. Yeah. I don't do sugar that late, and orange juice has a fuck ton of sugar in it. Jason, what do you got?
I got a homemade tequila and lime. I guess you can say it is. A lot of lime juice and tequila, some soda water. And then from Dark Sky, I'm having a best friend brew from my best friends.
Aww.
It is a Hell's Kolsch, and it's in remembrance of a dead dog, which is sad. But the beer is really good, so I enjoy it very much. Picked it up as well. I picked up multiple because I like it very much. For our excuse me, cat. Excuse me. Picked it up for our. But ain't get no space. For our special podcast that we're doing in like 2 weeks' time.
Oh yeah, like it's gonna fucking make it there.
Yeah, I know. Well, I bought 2 of these. Bought 2 with the idea of me being like, I'll just have the one. Oh my god! Can you get your face out of my face? Out of my butt. Wait, what?
Consensual.
What Jason means is that he's already on the second one.
It's delicious. All right, that's all. That's all.
Oh my god! And Chris is on his kick. He is staying sober, so we are good to go. Good job, Chris. Much longer than I've lasted. I honestly, I thought about it last weekend. I was like, I'm not gonna drink. Like, I don't have a need to. And then Friday night rolled around. Kid went to bed, and I went, fuck it. I need some bourbon. I'm like, this has been a week.
Yep.
Just non-stop.
I know that feel, bro. I know that feel,
bro.
Yeah, and then 30 Rock of I'm just going.
Yeah, just keep pouring it in. Yeah, and then this weekend it's just me and the kiddo. Because the wife is going out of town for work, so we're gonna have a guys' weekend. It probably means that I'm gonna have to follow him around in his world in Genshin for quite a while and help him out. The great thing is that I'm so much higher of a level than him that if he needs any help, I just come in and I one-shot bosses and then call it a day. I'm like, there you go, buddy. Use your resin.
But they had limits to when you could. Oh, he can't join yours, but you can.
He can't join mine. Explaining that to him the other day too. He's like, "When can I come to your world?" I'm like, "Have fun,
2 years,
buddy."
bud?
In quite a while. He's like, "Well, why can't I?" And I'm like, "Okay, you know how like I come into your world and I just completely mess everybody up like instantaneously?" He's like, "Yeah." Okay, now imagine you come into my world and all the enemies are just as strong as me. And he goes, oh. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and start on news, I guess. This is
we got quite a bit.
The shortest segue that we've had in. Maybe.
Or a segue, or the shortest amount of news.
There's news.
Well, the shortest segue into it, like. I feel like we haven't primed it up enough. Like, we haven't gone 30 minutes. We've only gone like 12.
I mean, only it's because someone's not wanting to. We need it to be consensual for us to.
We do. It has to be consensual talk, and
consensual.
We're going to. Okay. Anyways.
So all right, go ahead.
All right. So CD Projekt Red has announced that they have 3 main Witcher games for new. Sage? Did you mean to put an S in there? Is it New Sage or New Age? Okay, that's what I thought. I'm like, 2 spinoffs and a cyberpunk game, which is the one that I call bullshit for. I'll see you guys in like 13 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got time on all of this, and that's fine. I think if anything, hopefully CD Projekt Red realize their faux pas.
New Saga.
Saga.
Gotcha. Okay.
Not Sage.
I'm like New Age.
E was a mistake.
I mean, they've done such a great job of building up an amazing world. There's no
and an original IP.
Be able to easily yeah, and it should be allowed to continue on outside of Geralt for Witcher, obviously.
Yeah.
And Geralt could easily be in there, but I mean, you have so much that you could do from this. You could do any other schools and it'd be just as fun. You could do from the beginning. You could do it the divergence of the worlds. I mean,
they could actually make it like the books. Like they could follow the books if they wanted to, because the games don't follow the books.
Well, I mean, the books are more or less just individual stories. So
yeah, but that's what I mean. It's like they could follow the books.
Yeah, they could make something else. Like I said, I think they could do a good job of like being like prequel's kind of a dirty world by this meaning, but I mean like pre-age. Like it's just like, hey, here's like what it's like for them to create the Witcherdom or whatever that it's called that makes them get to that point of wanting to do it. The series has done an okay job of kind of alluding to what all the horribleness that it is that got to us this point of both with the sorcerers and witches or witchers. The anime, if you ever watched that movie that they did, actually was really good.
Still need to watch that.
Studying.
I haven't watched it yet.
It's actually pretty decent on how they go into the law of surprise and how really it's kind of not fun for anybody. But end of the day, I'm looking forward to it. And the big thing that they're saying is like the big faux pas is expect multiplayer. If they do it well, I think that you could have kind of fun with multiplayer.
Oh yeah.
Because what I think would be really cool is if you had The Witcher, the world, and it's like your own big thing, whatever you want to do, you're still doing Witcherness. But then like if you wanted to do like raid bosses, because there's so much things that you could do that Geralt was taking down by himself that really, honestly, at the end of the day, would probably require a whole band of people to do.
Witcher Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Bingo.
I mean, they did that
Witcher Monster Hunter.
Right.
I want to make that very clear. I don't want a Witcher Monster Hunter, but I'd like to have a Witcher that has Monster Hunter elements to it.
Well, and they did kind of like show off like the camaraderie and whatnot of the Witchers in the newer season of the show, where like they all got together, and it's like, imagine that it's like they all just get together and they send out a message, and then it's like 3 people have to come over and do this one, and then so you have different like groups or dungeons that you have to do multiplayer wise, which would be fun.
Dude, the dynamics
especially if they're
so
procedural.
Like right, and the dynamics all there, because in the Witcher world, it's just like even if you call in a buddy from your own school, so you call someone over from like the cat or whatever and stuff like that, and you're a member of the cat, you can be like, hey, I'm going to take on this giant monster. You want to help me? They're not going to be like, sure, whatever you need. They'll be like, no, pay me, motherfucker. And it's just like, well, I'm going to get like $5,000 for taking this thing out. How much do you want? Well, I want 3. Well, no, I want 2. All right, well, give me 2 and a few potions or whatever. That would be dope. If it was just like, hey, you come on into this thing, you can negotiate on someone actually helping you out or anything like that. And it could be trading, could be all that stuff like that. That'd be fun. I think that there's a whole lot that they can do here. It has me excited, but it also has me fearful for failure.
Yeah, and then one of the games they actually named the developer that's making it for them, which is a studio they kind of own, but and the 2 games I looked up that they've kind of made before were kind of survival type games. So I think their game is going to be kind of like that, kind of more kind of survival based, which could possibly work.
Yeah, that could work just fine. The one thing that we talked about before as well is that the original author is finally like back on board. I mean, I still haven't read anything as to whether like he renegotiated contracts and shit like that. I'm pretty certain that he did. And he's like back on board and he's helping out with all this stuff. Like they actually had him at WitcherCon. So like I'm excited for more content on that run. It's not that I'm not excited for Cyberpunk content. It's that I'm not excited for the years upon years upon years that it takes to make the Cyberpunk games.
Yeah.
That they didn't
anticipate
on
the new Witcher saga of those 3 games, they said they're all going to come out within 6 years since the release of the first one within that new trilogy. What they're shooting for.
Wait, I love that. They're like, no, okay. So they're gonna all be out within 6 years of the release of the first one, which comes out in 20 years.
Which, I mean, I guess it helps that they're using Unreal Engine 5 now, so they're not kind of doing their own engine work.
That's true. That does make things a lot easier for them. We've talked about before, of like, you switch to an established engine, there's tools already there for you. It makes things a lot easier. Plus, it's gonna look fucking sexy.
Yeah. And then if you have engine problems, you just go, hey, Epic.
Yeah.
How do we do this? We're having this issue. You guys fix it.
And they are all about helping devs.
Yep.
Like, no matter how big, no matter how small.
And kind of one thing they were saying, too, is, like, they're building a lot of the groundwork up with this first game on there. And then, so it'd be a little bit easier going forward.
Nice. So, yeah, because then all they have to do is do, like, the incremental updates from Unreal 5 as they come along to make things look better.
I get all the benefits and stuff like that, but you guys have been gaming for a long time too, and you can always tell like that when you're playing a game that's built on Unreal or anything else that what's the other one? Not Unity.
Unity.
No, it is Unity. Okay, built on Unity or anything like that. You can tell, just because you start seeing similarities. Like obviously none of the art's exactly the same or anything like that, but a lot of the finesse that comes with building your own your own platform. You can just it just feels different. And
so I can see that
the finishedness.
I can see that. The big difference though is that 1.5 is still new. So like 4, which was out for so fucking long, like you could definitely see that. 5's new, so we don't see as much of like 5 content on there. But 5 is supposed to be a lot more customizable, so that like you can make your own set as opposed to like 4 and its predecessors. So we'll have to wait and see, like, because 5's a completely new animal. It's supposed to change everything when it comes to video game development. So I've still got like my fingers crossed that 5's just gonna fucking break the mold and gonna like it's gonna stick around for fucking ever, air quotes, in order to do it. But you know what's not sticking around forever? Stadia. Stadia is dead, everybody. And they plan to refund everybody that purchased hardware and games by January of this coming year, 2023.
You know what's great about, dissolving a platform and being the big boy and being like, hey, you know what? Sorry, our platform didn't fail. We're going to refund everybody. Well, when you only had like 5 sales to begin with, it makes it pretty easy. But yeah, this shocks nobody.
Yeah. It totally shocks. Well, it shocked some people. But so to go off of what Jason said, there is a guy that has 6,000 hours in Red Dead Redemption 2 online, that he's like begging Rockstar to make a transfer so that he can transfer his save data over. Some platforms have already, or some developers have already said like, yeah, we're working on it, or we already have it. We'll let you transfer over to like to PC or Xbox or whatever it is for it. But that one isn't fully set yet. Employees and developers were completely blindsided, in which case I say, one, you should have been blindsided, because companies, like, you don't just flat out tell people like that are working for you that this is happening. That's just how business works. 2, you shouldn't have been blindsided, because did you not know that you work for Google, who spins up and kills projects on a fucking whim all the goddamn time?
Yep.
I love that idea of that meeting. It was just like, all right, everybody, our project's dead. We're no longer going to be employed by the end of the month, but I do need you all to be in here on next Friday to make sure that we're handing in all of our TPS reports and getting our current sprints done, because that's very important still for this job that you now know is going to be ending in a few weeks. Like, who the fuck would show up? Nobody.
Well, the timing on it was hilarious, because the day before they announced it, they released a complete UI overhaul of Stadia that was supposed to make it like a lot like easier to navigate through, include a lot of quality of life changes and improvements. And then they worked hard on that one too. And then the next day they're like, all right, we're closing up shop, everybody. Let's go. But I liken it to when I worked at CompUSA and they were like closing down all the stores, and they're like, well, we still need you to work and do the liquidation. And then they expected 110% during the liquidation. I'm like, man, I'm a manager and I don't even want to do it. You want me to go out there and like try and force these like 19-year-old kids and 17-year-old kids to do it? I'm like, there's no fucking way. You take the effort that you get. When it comes,
what are you gonna do? Fire me?
Yeah, and then they're like, well, you won't get your severance. And I'm like, watch me. I'm like, I am still getting work done. Like, we are still working and we are talking to all these people. And you get all these liquidation assholes that come in and they're like, you guys need to do this. Like, fuck you. You don't know anything about electronic sales. But yeah, poor Stadia. We all saw the writing on the wall a long time ago. We called it even when they started it up.
Actually, that brings up something that I forgot to put on the news. But Amazon's also killing off GameSpark.
Oh yeah, that's
bad news for Killer Queen Black, because it uses GameSpark to run its online services.
They aren't killing it off. They killed it off. That was what came out. Is that it discontinued on September 30th. So they'd been trying to move it to a different one, and no dice. You want to know who's actually going to be sad about that? And I didn't tell about that earlier today. My son, who when I walked down after I got home from work to like heat up dinner and whatnot, I like walk in and he'd pulled up Killer Queen Black on the Switch, and I'm like, I don't have the heart to
Luckily,
tell him
Amazon's
to say
gonna keep it going for them until November 30th, so they can finish off like their gaming series.
But damn.
But it's like, well, game's dead. We're gonna try to make it open source, so maybe someone can bring it back to life somehow. But as an indie studio, we just can't do it.
Look at this bullshit though, right there. I mean, it's just like, all right, here we have it was a $40 game or $30 game at release.
Oh, it was a $15 game.
I thought it was $29.99. Whatever. Regardless,
maybe 30. Maybe game. 30. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Here we have a game that's just like, unbeknownst to the publishers, unbeknownst to the users or anything like that, that now loses 80% of its functionality. And it's just like, there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing a goddamn thing you can do about it. And that's why my big fear for a lot of this stuff is just like, if you're buying a game, like for me, it's just like, buy digital, of course, if as you want. We're obviously big proponents of Game Pass and all that jazz like that, but you have to realize that you don't own the game. And so when I buy physical, it's just like, I'm buying the game because I want to know that, you know, once the apocalypse happens and I do finally find a flat screen TV and a working PlayStation, that I'll be able to put in my disc of my favorite game that I've carried with me since the apocalypse for the last 10 years and sit down and play it. Right. And you can't, that's becoming less and less of a possibility anymore. And it sucks. It sucks a lot because you never own these games then.
Mm-hmm. Sucks donkey nuts. And it's the same thing with shutting down PlayStation 3 servers for games, the Wii U stuff, like anybody that has digital Wii U library and whatnot, like you have the console, but you can't play any of the digital stuff anymore. You can't access it. And that's one thing for like the big console company to do that. That's one thing. So Sony, you know, Microsoft, Nintendo, them doing that because that's their main pieces. And then they're like, okay, well, we had it going for, you know, what was it? Generally the life cycle for those is like 8+ on them before they start like putting them out end of life. Spark isn't that old. And
yeah, good point.
This is just a service that they were just like, we're just shutting it down. Like, it's not even like an engine or something like that. They're like, we're just shutting this service down and fuck all the games that are connected to it. For especially a game that is 100% online based.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck?
You can play local.
You can play local. This is true. But you got to get 8 people in your house. And I don't want to get 8 people in my house.
No. I don't like people that much.
No. I don't like people that much. So that's a hard no for me, dog. It's a hard no. All right. Let's see. Okay, well, I guess, God, did this really happen this week? NVIDIA has finally announced the 4080 and 4090. Big boys, giant powerhouses that do DLSS 3, which they're the only ones that will do DLSS 3.
Yep. Because it relies on some new stuff that's on them.
Yeah.
These new ones.
Yeah, on the Ada Lovelace ones. It is also, in my opinion, one of the better things that they have done. The 40 series is out, but the 40 series does not have a 4060 and 4070 or anything like that. They're keeping the 30 series, and the 30 series now have dropped down in price, and then they're putting in the 4080 and the 4090 in as the top tier ones. Now, the thing that I don't quite understand is why everyone's bitching about the price of the 4090 when it's cheaper than the 3090 was at launch.
Because we're used to scalping. Like,
but it's not even going to get scalped now. That's the funny part. The scalping's not going to be as big of an issue because Ethereum mining is dead. So like it has a much higher performance cap than what they previously had. Like the 3090 only had like an 11% performance boost over the 3080. 11% for twice the price. And then you also have to have a much larger motherboard or a much larger power supply for it. This has a huge substantial increase. Am I buying one? No. However, I don't understand why people are being such whiny bitches about it. It's a great fucking thing. Like technologically, it's awesome. And I really like that you can buy a 3060 now for $330. Which sucks because I paid like $530. Right? I paid $530 for mine. But but you can buy a 3060 for $330 and you can buy 3080s for like $600. It's a win-win situation for everybody here. Like they did a good job of dropping everything down, and I like it. I can't wait for it. Let's see here. Oh yeah, Blizzard bumped up the Overwatch FPS cap to 600 because the 4090 was too beefy. That was for their demo, right? So
yeah,
they demoed it.
It was like, we need to raise this cap.
Because it just like was like redlining, like it was just throttling up at the top. And they're like, well, can we go higher? And they're like, well, yes. Like, hang on. Okay. What? Why? It's still climbing. And they're releasing a game called Racer X as a demo, right? Isn't that what Racer X is, Chris?
I think so. They showed it off, like, kind of the performance of like the new cars and stuff like that. I think they might be releasing. I hope so. It looks awesome because it's basically just like RC cars racing around in
Which
like
would be dope.
Super amazing fucking graphics.
Yeah, it looked
And
pretty.
like, this looks pretty.
DLSS 3 does now not just real-time active ray tracing, it does path tracing too, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Like that is it's so
just
amazing.
the next level stuff.
Yeah, it's so amazing. If you talk to people that do visual effects and stuff like that, like they used to have to move path tracing and ray tracing by hand and like go in and do each individual set, and now this just automatically uses AI to just do it way faster than anybody could and do it on the fly, which is awesome. Great cards. Stop bitching about the prices, people. You want premium performance, you have to pay premium price. That's just how it is. Okay.
I mean, it's so powerful. You don't really need it for anything. It's just
it should be its own computer
if you want. Yeah.
Throw a solid state drive into the 4090 and just call it a PC. Like that's it. You really should.
Just throw some more GDR6X on there and just there's your solid state drive. It's just all VRAM.
Yep. All right. In surprising news, not surprising that it's happening, surprising that they were able to convince the country of Indonesia to to let them do this.
Or Singapore?
Singapore, not Indonesia. Yes.
Yeah.
Skull and Bones is delayed again. And I love that they say that it's complete. We just need extra time to polish it. We got to make this turd look as shiny as we can. At some point, just fucking stop. Just release it. It's gonna suck. I'm telling you.
It's gonna suck. There's no like, I don't know what they're wasting more money on this. I don't like, it had to be so bad. It had to be like releasing a game that just probably nobody ever actually play tested this game, and finally some motherfucker got to the end and was just like, the end just gives me like a blank screen and I fall through the world indefinitely, and they're like, fuck, we
that
can't
was
release
intended.
at least yeah that was a feature. You Skull and Bones because you fall to hell, which is just the void.
No,
deep,
Davy Jones' Locker.
Davy Jones, yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm. It's a feature.
It had to be something. It had to be something so breaking. It had to be, because anything else you could patch out.
It's just a dark abyss, and all I hear is slurping sounds.
Yeah.
But even that, like the end, like that could be patched out. Like the fact that they would sit there and be like, "It's gold. It's gold if we do it right now. We can't fix that issue in 30 days." Like, really? You can't fix that problem in 30 days? Wow. I don't know. It's just it's so fucking humorous. Yep. It's just so fucking funny. But oh well. All right. Ryzen 7000 series processors have been tested, everybody. And okay, I'm not reading
so hot right now.
I'm not reading this the way that you typed it up because this is the same buzz stuff that everybody else has been doing for it. What this means is that when running at full throttle for a very long period of time, it is perfect. Like, it will run perfectly normal at 95 degrees Celsius, which isn't a problem with the manufacturing. That is a feat of engineering, in my opinion. Like, everyone's everyone always they're spinning it of like, it gets too hot and it gets so hot. The fact that it gets so hot and continues to run at peak performance is pretty fucking mind-boggling, in my opinion.
Yeah, and AMD is like, hey, it's fine. It's
totally
designed
fine
to work that way. It's because I guess it has like kind of variable rate, I guess, on the clock speed and stuff like that, where it'll ramp up as long as it's not too hot, main thing, and then also it can get enough power. And so like, if it's running 95C, cool. We can keep going up to we're at 95C. Okay, that's where we're at. We're gonna run steady clock speed, steady 95C.
And that's 95 Celsius is hot.
Yes.
But that's a feat right there for it to be able to do that. Like, I'm not going to sit here and badmouth AMD because of this, because I consider that to be a technological feat for them to do it. I think they did a great job of being able to do that, and that speaks volumes to the actual processor itself, because, I mean, I remember back in the day that if you just misseated your heatsink on top of the chip for an AMD processor that didn't have any heat spreaders or anything like that on there, you just misaligned it by just a tad, it fried instantly. So, like, kudos to AMD for finally like getting to that realm where it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And I mean, we saw that in the 5000 series, because they were running warm, and like standard running temps that people were seeing even with liquid cooling was like 75 degrees or higher, and they ran perfectly fine without any issues or anything like that. It's just alarming to see, because you're not used to it.
Like, did I misseat it? No. That's how it's supposed to run.
Yeah. Okay, this next one, I'm going to read exactly how Chris wrote it. Intel Raptor Lake competitive with 7000 series in price, performance, and shockingly power draw. And that's the big one, and it's more of a knock on AMD at this point then, because the AMD processors, in order to compete with performance with Intel, then had to crank up the power draw on the 7900 and the 7950s. So they'd been, like, one of the big things about the 5000 series was that they ran like a third of the power draw of all the Intels, sometimes more than that. And now, in order to get up to the performance of the 13 series ones, you just have to keep going up and up and up. But again, at least they can handle the power that's going into it.
Yeah.
But I am glad, as we talked about on the last one, that Intel decided not to raise their prices back up again because of the price points that AMD put theirs in at. Because that would have just been stupid. They would have continued on, and it would have been the same story that we've seen from Intel with AMD for years, of where they're more expensive than AMD processors. AMD processors are pretty much just as good performance-wise as them, and Intel just didn't give a fuck. Finally, they've realized that they have lost a shit ton of market share and are taking AMD seriously now. And taking consumers seriously, which is good. Let's see here. What next? Okay, I guess we should have done this one back when we were talking about the 4090s. So NVIDIA also announced RTX Remix, which allows you to remaster old games with ray tracing and AI uncompressed textures.
Upres.
Oh, upres textures. Like trying to read Chris's typing here. All in.
It's better than my handwriting.
Omniverse, so you can mod away as much as you want. And they showed off Morrowind, and then a new Portal with ray tracing. And like Portal looked pretty back in the day, and now you look at it, it's like it's mildly potato. It looks pretty with ray tracing turned on, like all the glossy textures and the lighting and everything for it.
Yep.
It's amazing, and they didn't have to. Like, especially with Morrowind, they didn't remake anything. They just added it in and ran it through RTX Remix, which is cool. But is Remix available? Remix is only available for 40 series, right, Chris?
No. So Remix is gonna be through the Omniverse. So then you can collaborate through like Omniverse with other people and stuff like that as you're kind of working. So you can get, okay, let's remix this kind of section, whatever. We can take these models and then we can go also, because then it'll also take models that you might not have like stuff for anymore and kind of try to recreate and put it into a standardized format that you can now kind of modify or add things, so you can actually add stuff to the game too, or your mod or coming stuff. Because like as you kind of say, oh, it just makes boxes appear out of nowhere, which was kind of something they added into Morrowind was, hey, we can add in now to this box, we can up-res this kind of stuff. Can convert some things, like because ray tracing now has to deal with the kind of materials and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, someday I can kind of figure out, hey, this looks like it should be this kind of material and have these kind of properties, and then you can go and edit that through Omniverse and kind of test, make sure everything kind of works. And so kind of bring some of these old games that you can't really do a lot with or very easily, some like DirectX 8, DirectX 9 games, and bring them up to current systems and remasters fairly a lot easier than it has been in the past.
Awesome. Okay. Next, very recently, a record was broken, everybody. It was a record that we never thought would be broken. Because there's no fucking way that anybody could do it as bad as it was before. And we thought there was a chance that Skull and Bones could have been one of these. But Skull and Bones is coming out. So Skull and Bones has not broken this record. But Beyond Good and Evil 2 has officially broken Duke Nukem Forever's record for longest game development time. This game has been in development for so fucking long.
I'm fine with it. The preview, the trailer that they showed, whatever you want to call it,
forever ago,
back in 2016, 2017, whatever. I absolutely hated because Beyond Good and Evil, the original one, it was one of my favorite games of all time. I actually bought that game, physical copies, at least 5 or 6 times, because I bought it on PlayStation, Xbox, GameCube at the time, PC. I bought it pretty much every single way I possibly could.
Jason's Skyrim.
I loved playing it. Yeah, I wanted to play it, and any chance I could play it on my new hotness, why not? Because let's see what changes and improvements we made. I mean, that's how old this game is too. It's just like you didn't get regular like downloaded updates. So when they released it on a new console, it was just like, oh, what did they change from when they released it originally? Type thing. So the music was just fantastic. I think it was actually one of the first video game soundtracks that even like was full on like, I know who these people are that made this music. So it was really good. And what they released in that preview trailer was just like, this isn't the world and what I care about this entire thing. So knowing that they're probably having to start from scratch a few times here, I'm fine with it. I don't care. Ubisoft has already proven that, their future is just making shovelware anyway. So I'm not too concerned about anything else, because I think it's not going to be a quality game. So I'm just like going like, hey, you know what? It's going the same way of Duke Nukem Forever. You know what Duke Nukem Forever was? Dog shit. So not concerned. Not holding my breath at all.
I will say, when I saw this headline pop up, I was like, man, I didn't think I'd hear that name again, Duke Nukem Forever. But here we are.
We are.
We're talking about evil.
Talking about Duke Nukem Forever. I actually, honestly,
it's a good game. If you haven't played it, play it.
And many times I've forgotten that this game is in development, because it's been in development for so fucking long, and we've had radio silence for so fucking long. Okay. Let's see here. All right. Oh, God. In your Fuck Activision news for the podcast, which I think we've gone a couple episodes, maybe without having to do one of these segments.
Maybe.
A report has come out from labor analyzers that Activision Blizzard had withheld raises from people as retaliation for unionization in their company, which is a big problem for them as well, which goes to the additional pieces that the EU has gone like deeper into the looks of this Microsoft acquisition, and they're really delving hard into it. And Sony has even has it has come out that Sony did meet with them early in September to voice their concerns and talk about why they don't think that this should be allowed to go through. So I do like, one of the things is like, you could pay off the US government. We've seen it happen many times. I'm pretty certain that Microsoft and their lobbyists can do that. It's very hard to pay off the EU though for this shit. Like, it's extremely hard to pay them off. So I don't know if this is actually going to happen.
Yeah.
Supposedly they have until the end of the month now to weigh their judgment on this. So we should be hearing something by the end of October, it looks like, for it. Fingers crossed that we hear something, because I'm just getting kind of sick of talking about whether or not it's going to happen now. All right. Let's see here. Next, FIFA 2023 has crossplay now between the same generation systems for the first time in like forever, right? If ever?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of it having crossplay before this.
Because this includes PC, Xbox, and PlayStation.
Yes. But so the PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S can play each other. And then Xbox One and PS4 can play each other.
Just, hey.
And I mean, kind of some of the reason behind that is it's got the new like HyperMotion 2 technology or whatever on the new gen systems and not on the older ones, so it's basically two different versions of the game. So
well, that's how it was when they had FIFA came out on the PS4 and the Xbox, and then they had like this version that didn't have Frostbite that came out on the Switch because the Switch couldn't handle Frostbite. So it's not surprising that, and that's nothing new. Like, they've done that before in the past, especially with Madden, with FIFA, with all of those. So that portion's not surprising at all. But the fact that they're allowing crossplay between Xbox, PC, and PlayStation is going to be big. I mean, I don't play FIFA, but I know a lot of people do. So
and so that's a big thing. Oh, now I can play with my friends on the different system.
Friends? No.
More like those hooligans in West Ham. See that ludicrous display last night?
All right.
We them tractor boys.
So, as we've talked about, Genshin's 2-year anniversary has come up. It's come and gone. It's still in like the actual anniversary is happening right now, but the anniversary date, boom, came, gone, everything, which brought out some numbers. And the biggest number that stands out is that Genshin as a whole has made $3.7 billion in its first 2 years from just mobile.
I was gonna say that's slowing down. That's way worse. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Just mobile. That doesn't include PlayStation sales. And I don't even know if that includes PC sales direct through MiHoYo as well, because they do have the ability. Like, when you're playing on PC, you can top up directly through their store, it's just astonishing how much fucking money this game has made. Yeah. They still, like, they've had like multiple crossover like events over in China with like what they did with KFC before, and every one of them has had to get shut down like within a couple of hours because there's just too many people at the stores. It's astonishing.
It's crazy.
It is. It's really crazy. And I don't know. They've done such a good job with a lot of the stuff that it's not surprising, to say the least, that people are still playing this game. I mean, I still play it all the time. Jason has recently gotten sucked back in again.
Yeah, I'm back into it too, which, has its plus and minuses. And I get it. Like, they made a quality game, but they're still having the same problem after 2 years, where end game content is very lacking and new game player base is hard to create. So getting those new people to come in that are going to substantiate the end players, because the end players will dwindle. It's just going to happen. And they've already talked about making this a 10-year game. Here we are in year 2, and it's already kind of like I don't know how I feel about already playing this game of murder lollies at 50. but I'm willing to do it if they can keep me entertained, and that's what we're talking about right now, right?
Thankfully, it's a 10-year game. I won't be 50 by the time that they hit their stride on this. They have actually done some question and answers with the community, and they were asking about endgame content. And right now, their stance is that the Spiral Abyss is the current and only endgame content that they're putting out for like hardcore players. They've tried a few different ones, and there's a lot of talk on the Reddit, like on the subreddits for it and everything, about like how they've tried different things. And one of the people brought up a very valid point. Everyone was complaining about endgame content, and they said, we want more endgame content. Like, you need to make that. And then their complaint was, there's not enough rewards for this endgame content. It's not worth it for me to do it. And they're like, well, what do you want? Do you want to do stuff for rewards, or do you want endgame content? Like, you need to pick and choose your battles. But I will say though that probably the big thing that keeps me going in the lulls when like I've done everything is multiplayer. Like if I've gotten to a point where I'm not like I don't have anything to do for a while, getting on and playing with people that are lower levels and helping them out for me is really, really good. Like, it's fun. But I don't understand the people that complain about, and they keep saying that there's too much for like new players to get started on. If I was a new player hopping into this game, I'd be fucking ecstatic, because you have so much content to get through that you have like nothing, like everything in front of you to do.
But that's not what's being advertised. Mm-hmm. So if you're finally jumping in
stuff,
now,
yeah.
you're looking at the stuff that's being advertised. You're just like, cool. Oh man, this stuff looks so dope. All right, well, I hope you'll enjoy it in 2 years. Like, it's just like, well, that's, I don't like, so, I mean, I know that they're talking about like making time-based feature events like be repeatable or like, triggerable at like times, not like based on active living time.
Yeah,
because I mean, I think back and it's just like there's tons of like mini games that I've played throughout the years. There's like that was actually a lot of fun. Like they had like a few of like the tower defense ones, or the roguelite one that they even had, or even stupid ones like the one where you're planting plants in a certain way. Just silly stuff. Is just like if you were playing as a new player and you're getting these zones, you just have no idea that ever went down. And it's just it's like, yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, the first Theater Mechanicus, the tower defense that they put in, I enjoyed the shit out of that. I didn't enjoy it as much the second time because they made a bunch of tweaks to it and it wasn't as fun. But that first one was fun as hell. Like, I enjoyed that one so much. And they've done a lot of those. The big thing, and the one that, like, when people have complained about this, I've gone, yeah, you have a point, is content that just disappears completely. And we're not talking like the Theater Mechanicus and stuff like that. We're talking about like actual content and backstory. So one of the things that I think we talked about over the summer though is like the Immernachten stuff that you had with the Golden Apple Archipelago this year. There's so much backstory for Kazuha and for Fischl that you're never going to get again, because it was time gated. It was for a month.
Same thing with last year with Klee.
Yeah,
same thing with Klee like 2 years ago or whatever. It's just like you don't get to do that now. And it's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I do hope though that they start making more global things happening, because right now it's like you keep following around the Fatui basically. Like, you're following the Fatui. And it's like, the Fatui never actually leave Liyue. They never actually leave Inazuma. They never leave Mondstadt. But there's no stories going on with them. And they really need to start, like, intermixing more stories now into the past countries during the launches of these, to remind you and make you go back and remind you that there's still, like, an ever-growing threat in all of those countries. But we'll have to wait and see how they go along with their story building on it. The new 5-star, I look at him and I'm like, it's Polearm Razor in my opinion. He's not like there's not like a super need for me to get him. I already have a great polearm like electro player. I don't really need a new version of Razor, but they have done some other things. So like Candace, their new character Candace is like one of the very first like actual physical tanks that they have in the game that functions more like a tank than Beto does, or like more like a traditional RPG tank. She absorbs all the damage and then repels it the same way that Beto does, but then she also heals herself and does buffs to the party and everything like that too, which is really good.
Yeah, but did you play her? Did you play the trial with her?
Yeah. Once you get down to like her stuff, she's actually kind of fun. you gotta figure out her stuff. But tanking tanking can be boring though, and some people really like it, some people don't.
You're right. Tanking can be boring, and I could see that if you were like playing raids all the time, that's where she would be like, "Holy shit! Thank God she's here," type thing. Because yeah, if you're playing multiplayer, like I could see that being a lot of fun. But what I don't see is taking her into the Spiral Abyss.
No,
like, there's just no fucking way.
Like she would do well, but that time cap that you have on the Spiral Abyss in order to get your stars, no fucking way that's happening.
Pointless waste to raise her. Anyway,
but not every character is made for Spiral Abyss. Yep. Like that's the thing. They're not all made for Spiral Abyss, and some of them are just made for exploring the overworld. Either way, moving on.
Yep.
Okay. I feel like this needs a little prefacing for it. Okay, so the developers for Hellblade released or like some information came out that they had AI developed audio as placeholders in tests, just testing things out and whatnot. So much so that they had to come out and specifically say that they are not using AI voices to replace voice actors, just placeholders, because the internet was the internet. And saw one thing, didn't read into things, didn't use their fucking brains, and just immediately
they're using this AI voice acting tech. They're replacing voice actors. But then you can't get like all the emotion. No, we're just like placeholders as we kind of figure out how the story goes and how things are kind of working out, and then we're gonna go through and do the actual voice acting.
I mean, one could be said the same thing for Beyond Blue when we were doing it. Oh, they're just doing their own voice acting instead of getting SAG affiliated actors to do it and cutting costs on it. No, they just did that as like they needed to get shit done for E3 and stuff.
Yeah, it was like the developer's daughter, and
it was someone's daughter or wife and the CEO of the company.
It was the CEO and his sister, I think.
That's it. It was the sister. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
but it was the CEO. It was the CEO.
Obviously not voice actors. It's like, oh, I am so surprised. It's like, oh, are you?
Are you? I could not tell.
I feel very sad about this. I
am also sad about this.
Oh, you no. The poor whales. Can someone save them?
The shark. No, I got this. The shark. There it is. Nailed it.
Yeah, that's
Nailed it.
All right. So yeah, people stop just like getting like one little tidbit and then blowing up on things. Actually, use your brain.
Internet, bro.
I know. I'm trying to tell the internet this. Internet, please. Please, internet.
Stop.
Please.
Just stop.
Just stop. Go get some therapy, talk through your problems, They'll help you out with that. They'll help you with these anger management issues that you're having, internet.
No. You're not getting help.
But having the internet talk through their anger management issues with therapists is much easier than telling the internet to get laid. Just saying.
I mean,
Jason has no rebuttal. He's like, nah, it's about right.
My cat knocked something off my desk, and so I got distracted. But in the day, yeah, I don't know what to say to that.
All right,
they just got to find that consensual aspects to it.
Consensual.
All right, Sony has come out and said that their games, so first-party Sony games, will not hit PC until a year after release. So they're expanding on, and they are definitely going to be moving more into the PC base, but they will not be releasing first-party games until a year after release on PlayStation, unless it's a live service game. So if they make an MMO or a MOBA or something like that, or a battle royale, then they will put it out on PC. But they're not interested in like making Ragnarok available on PC day one, which makes sense because they want to sell a console too.
Yep. Like it might come, but it's gonna be at least a year.
Yeah, at least, because that's not a guarantee that it will be a year after.
Yes.
That's at least a year.
I mean, fine. At least here they are saying like, hey, it's going to happen, rather than the last 20 years of being like, fuck off, it's never going to happen. So, hey, win, in my opinion. If you're down for that. I mean, I always like the idea of being able to play the game as what it's fully optimized for and having fun. And then being able to get the game again on PC and now playing it like obviously at a later date, probably have a better spec computer or anything like that, and maybe blowing it out a little bit more so it feels fresh. I like that a lot. What I'm not a big fan of is paying $70 for each of those experiences.
Yes.
Because I won't do that.
But I won't do that. No.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're expected to make, I think it was 300 million this year off of PC.
I mean, that's a good chunk of change. That would change my mind.
One or two titles that came out this year.
Yeah, it was Spider-Man and
God of War came out at the beginning of the year.
Oh, God of War, that's right. Well, Horizon and Days Gone came out previously, so this year
that's true.
It's Spider-Man and God of War.
Yeah,
so that's right.
I mean, hey, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see here. This one came out of nowhere, and I was actually surprised by it. Fandom now owns Giant Bomb, GameSpot, Metacritic, and a bunch of other websites. So Fandom,
I know, right?
Which is it's a pretty version of Wikipedia. That's the best way to describe it.
What sucks though is that they're Fandom. No, but it's so like even like the amount of ads that are on fandom pages. Like even if you have UV block, ad blocker, all the things, there's still so much bullshit on these websites. And the idea that that's going to now be the norm across, quite honestly, a large spectrum of very popular websites, I'm not excited about.
When was the last time you used GameSpot?
But yeah, okay.
Because GameSpot had a fuck ton of ads all over it too. Same thing with Giant Bomb. Giant Bomb, I at one point I stopped looking at them because there was just too many. Like there's ad blocking on my phone, but man, like I had to stop.
Most game websites I don't even bother with anymore unless it's like someone small like us, where I'm just like, okay, this is a real article. Because the second it's just like, hey, click the next screen to read more, or scroll and then full page ad, scroll. Okay, it's gone now, full page ad.
Oh,
like, I'm done. And the second I hear any noise come from your website, I'm sorry, this isn't 2002 MySpace. I'm hitting that back button immediately. Like, it's just like, what? Who's making money off of this shit? And it just boggles my mind. I'm so done with it. Like, it is like the next big cancel culture is going to be along with internet and how we regulate that kind of stuff. Because like, I'm ready to cut the cord if it weren't for like services that don't require ads. If I was getting ads all the time and listening or even talking on this podcast, I'd be like, fuck off. I'm done. I'm going to go be a hill person. And, I only want my ads to be streamed to me via Pornhub. Thank you very much.
And even Pornhub doesn't do a whole lot of ads to you.
Yeah, that's what's even crazier. It's just like Pornhub's just like, hey, you know what? There's some porn ads. You should expect it. But it's like, no, there's all your stuff. It's crazy to think about that, of like commenting that a porn site is better at ad management than these fucking
it's a complete 180. And I think that's the best part about Pornhub is they queue up like a 30-second ad, but then you can skip it after like 8 seconds. They're just like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. You watched it enough, you're good.
We all know what you're here for.
Yeah, we know what you're here for. Ain't no one got time for ads. If you don't want to see this ad for porn, before your porn. But it's always the
this is just the warm up.
Yeah, it's always the like play this game that'll make you come in 30 seconds shit. You're just like, what?
Consensual ads.
Consensual ads, yes.
Consensual ads.
My God.
Is that the podcast name? Consensual ads?
It's just consensual.
It's gotta be.
It's just
consensual. Yeah.
It's just consensual.
Just
100% consensual.
Or podcast. Consensual podcast.
It's the implication.
It's the implication.
Speaking of non-consensual, the internet has gone up in arms over Mario's sweet virgin ass because apparently it's too flat in the new movie poster.
I don't understand why this is news. I was
Pixar mom booty.
Oh my! I was traveling this weekend, or for the past couple days, and a news finance website or news show was on, and I was watching a little bit of it, and they went into on how Kim Kardashian's gonna have to spend pay 1.2 million in fines for an Ethereum thing that she did that was not true. And I'm just like, this is a financial supposedly realistic financial program that we're watching right now.
Talking about the Kardashians.
$1.2 million is nothing. $1.2 million in finance is bullshit. You find that underneath the rug. No one gives a fuck about it, especially with the Kardashians. It's just here's the real ad. This is the ad. What she was paid back by Ethereum wasn't the ad. What she's being fined for isn't the ad. It's having fucking Bloomberg or whatever it was talk about it on the fucking financial website media outlet. That's what everyone was paid for, and Bloomberg's probably in on it too, getting paid off just to pay for that. Because any other thing that they talk about, $1.2 million would be like, oh, that's a weekend. It's Tuesday. Who gives a shit? But for whatever reason, that had to be news. Nick talked about it for a while. I was just like, fuck off. God, it's just I'm so pissed all the time of being advertised to and lied. It's just there's no reason for this to be talked about. Period. Pisses me off. Sorry. Soapbox away.
I love that we're talking about Mario's ass and Jason starts talking about Kim Kardashian's ass.
Because it's the same thing. It's just this is such stupid crap. Who gives a shit? I don't understand why this is important.
Well, what we're more talking about is the internet apparently, again, needs to talk to their therapist. Everyone get a subscription to your virtual therapist of choice and discuss why Mario not having a massive badonkadonk hurts you emotionally.
We recommend Mindspace. Download now for a free trial of Mindspace. No, I'm just fucking kidding. I'm just kidding.
I don't even know any of the virtual therapy ones or anything like that. I know they're out there. I don't know.
I think it's just a game one. I don't know what. I just thought of the first one I could think of. For the lulz, and
then make sure you pay for it with your Meta or whatever debit card.
IBIF coin. IBIF coin.
IBIF coin. We haven't made it yet.
IBIF coin.
Mana.
That's it. It was Mana, not Meta. And Jason, now that Ethereum no longer is now stake of claim, we need to make IBIF coin so that then that's the new mining.
I don't want to contribute to mining. I don't want to do that.
You can only mine it in Minecraft.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Wait, no, that's not allowed. They won't allow that.
I don't know why that game doesn't exist yet. Where it's just hey, you mine real shit. I mean, the fucking auction houses in WoW existed, and that was in essence the same
Final
thing.
Fantasy 11.
Final Fantasy 11 had too. Yeah,
Final Fantasy 14 as well.
1,000 wicker baskets that you could buy for 3 pennies. How long does it take you to make a wicker basket? About 5 minutes. And you got 1,000 of them together, and you're selling them for 3 cents. It's a living. No, it's not.
No, it's not. For them, that was all the experience. So they had to get the experience points for making all the wicker baskets, and then they're like, well, I got to do something with them, and I can't just give them away for free because then the wicker basket economy will go to shit. I got to make at least some money off of these wicker baskets. But it is hilarious though that because the economy on like some of those RPing servers for Final Fantasy 14, like shit is fucking expensive. And then when they finally opened up the ability to travel to different worlds, like that became then the new norm, is like, okay, everything's really expensive here, so let's go buy the same thing in Mexico. Like it's like Final Fantasy 14 equivalent of Mexico, which is a different server. You go there and you're paying like pennies on the dollar for the exact same thing, and then you bring it across the border into your server, your little country, back to America, and then you're doing it. Like, it's actual global economics, and it's hilarious.
I remember playing Drug Wars on my TI-83. Yeah, I remember. It was great. I learned those lessons.
Great.
All right. Okay. Chris, you guys are gonna have to talk about this, right? Jason, I guess
that wasn't me.
Oh, Chris, Jason?
Overwatch?
What's Overwatch?
Overwatch is.
This would be my spelling, but this wasn't me.
Overwatch is the same game that has Edge Oneers going through.
Edge Oneers. Edge Oneers.
Edge Oneers in Overwatch.
Cyberpunk Edge Oneers.
Overwatch 2, I'm just kind of like
Overwatch 2 crossover, Jason.
Goddamn. Cutscene's gonna be a mess this month. It's gonna be a mess.
For those of you that don't know, for Cutscene, we are watching Cyberpunk Edge Oneers, and we have decided that every time that we say Edge Oneers on the podcast, we have to say Edge Oneers.
In life, Eric, wasn't for the podcast. Edge Oneers is the name.
Edge Oneers.
From now on, it is
the
rule of the world. Anyway,
we all had like giggles. We all had like the mad giggles for the last 4 or 5 minutes of that podcast.
Oh, it was bad. It was bad.
It was so bad.
Anyways, Overwatch. Overwatch 2.
Overwatch. I'm just really surprised on how they're handling this. Now, they went to free-to-play, 100% economy for Overwatch 2 and stuff like that. And obviously, just for the idea of your battle pass and all your bullshit that you can do. I mean, they got in such heat for it last year. If you remember, Overwatch was one of the first titles to really get a lot of pushback on loot boxes and on how it there was the honestly the straw that broke the camel's back of making it is it legalized gambling in a way for people to take money and all that stuff like that. And they didn't used to publicize your odds and all that stuff like that. So we owe a lot of clarity to Overwatch being so shitty in the past, right?
Well, and it's thanks a lot to Japan for requiring those, because they required, they actually passed a law that made it so you had to put the odds in there, that. Thank you, Japan, for that.
Right. And because Overwatch was one of the big ones, because all these people were spending
of money. It wasn't even Overwatch. Well, no, Overwatch was one of the big ones that
broke the camel's back.
It was gacha games on mobile, like Dokkan Battle, Fate Grand Order, all those games, because they spend millions and billions of dollars on that.
Right, but they had already been putting those in a lot of aspects for mobile. Obviously, Overwatch was the first one that got super global.
Yeah,
it was everywhere. It's the first time that a lot of people even heard of it as being a problem, and it was just oh my god, there are whales. The term whale really became very popular from Overwatch. That's when a lot of people heard it for the first time. It's just you mean you're spending hundreds of dollars a week on this game that you're barely playing just to try to get a special skin for a character you don't even like? That makes no sense.
Seriously,
people do it. People, but I need even in Genshin, it's just you can see it all. You're spending so much money. It's just stop it. Get help. Get that psychotherapist that we were talking about all over the place.
Yes, if you're spending that much money on Genshin, you need to also talk to your online therapist.
Stop it. It's just the process of what they've been going through. They've been going through mad amount of problems. I mean, today was release day for it to be out. They're under massive DDoS attack, just because people are so upset. They moved everything to a free-to-play mobile style. Shut down pretty much Overwatch 1, and for you to get all of your stuff back to the way Overwatch 1 was is going to cost gobs and gobs of money to buy up all the battle passes and all the bullshit and stuff like that, which, you know what, it's Overwatch 2 now. It's a different game, so you can do all the gymnastics around that. It's just another thing in the Blizzard and Activision like pincushion that I'm just like, Jesus, guys. Like, I loved Overwatch. I played a lot of it. I liked it a whole bunch. I thought it was a fun game, very well balanced, and actually engrossing storyline for a MOBA game. Like, it's just like cool. There's cool stuff in characters. And then they just kind of dragged it to shit. And Overwatch 2 is just another example for it. Will I play it? Sure, I'll play it. I'll check it out. It's free. Might as well do it. But I'm not the key demographic anymore. And I think that's maybe what I'm upset about. It's just like, I'm not the one that's going to be shelling out $5 for a skin because I don't give a fuck. I'm going to run in here and just be like, whatever, I'm going to shoot you in the face with my regular colored gun. It's not even going to be rainbow and sparkly. And you're still going to be dead. And I'm going to be still $5 richer for not buying that stupid skin. I don't know. I'm not part of that crowd. So I guess that's maybe why I'm mad.
You are not the target demographic. Sorry,
Jason. I'm old now. You
are old. All right. Chris, do you want to do this one?
Sure. Is that the
UO one?
Yep. So UO Ultima Online is now 25 years old. And still going. One of the first MMOs to come out. That's insane. 25 years. And so part of the thing, if you've been around it for 25 years, you get a special shield.
I just love that they're like, hey, have a shield.
Yeah.
Here's your gold watch.
Yeah. 25 years of service. And so some things that people have been kind of reminiscing about, some stories. Someone who used to work for it, he ended up became a game manager, GM or whatever kind of guy, and so they ended up having an issue with people duping items, where there was kind of an area where you could just do like a little chest and kind of duplicate items. And so they kind of figured out a way where they could kind of have almost invisible ink, so only for them, the devs, could see that was a duped item, or kind of show a different color to them, but not to the actual people. So people had no idea they were being tracked. And they're like, oh, okay, we'll just get rid of them. They're like, oh, we'll just do all the duplicate items at once. But they're like, well, maybe we shouldn't do that because that would cause a lot of harm. Because, innocent people are buying these items that people are duping and selling and stuff like that. It'd be kind of a massive kind of thing. They're like, maybe we shouldn't do that. So they're like, well, okay, we'll kind of think about something. And then,
well, arson is always an option.
Yes. So what they ended up doing was, so they timed it where the servers were kind of down for maintenance, and so right before they came back up, they would ban the people that were kind of selling these duplicate items that had these massive amounts and making them real money off of them. And so they banned them right before, so they couldn't even, and then they would go to the house, set this thing where it basically delete the house and then pop it in a spot where it was the same size. It was just some rubble and some fire, you turn a fire, and then there'd be a scarecrow in the middle being like, "That's what you get, fuckers."
Because arson is always an option.
So they basically just burned down their house and got rid of all the items that they had stored there, and all the vendors people could go and buying, and
get the fuck out of our servers.
They timed it right where, so they couldn't even kind of figure it out and go figure out a way to go on alt to try to get their stuff out before it was all gone.
I saw that article at lunch when you shared it, and I just started laughing to myself.
This is fucking awesome.
So good. So good.
It's the ultimate come up, and kudos to them for going. No, we can't just delete the items. People paid money for this, and we feel really bad for them, and they're using them. These are good people that had no idea. Well, presumably had no idea. I'm pretty certain a lot of them knew what they were doing, but they may or may not have known that these were duplicates. And it's I feel bad, taking those items away from them. They didn't do the duplicating. That's the bad part, is the selling of the drugs. That's the really, really bad part, is selling them. And also, it's not illegal to be high. It's illegal to get caught getting high. That's the difference. But anyways, So the fact that they're just like, all right, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just kill all the drug dealers. I love it. It's great.
We should burn down their houses.
Yeah, burn down their meth labs, kill the drug dealers, boot them off of the servers. We can just do that. All right. Yeah. Last but not least on news, E3 has finally announced their plans for next year. And thank God they're much better than we thought they were going to be.
Yes.
Because the fact they were bringing in an outside company that was like doing conventions and stuff like that, like I was like, it's not a con, it's an industry thing. They just need somebody that knows how to actually run something better, but they need to make it so that it's still industry. So the great thing is they're going to do 2 full days of industry only, 1 mixed day, and they're adding in a 4th day that will be for public only. So all the public people with the public passes can get in and do it. And I think it's a good like mixed or happy medium between everything. You still get 2 full days where if you're in the industry, you can walk around the floor, you can do everything. You're not like being pushed upon or anything like that by people. You'll be able to see the games you need to get to your meetings easily, stuff like that. And then you can decide whether you want to be there for that 3rd day or not.
Well, I mean, no, what that tells me is that you set up all the meetings for the 3rd day.
Yeah.
Because my favorite thing was back in the day, because our 3rd day was typically lighter, was then we'd finally be able to walk around and be like, see all the new shit. Be like, oh, this is kind of cool. We'd like to talk to you about this. Like the smaller people or peripherals that were just like not highlighted like crazy and stuff like that. I mean, that's how we found Brawlhalla at that one time. It's just like when we were just fucking around and shit like that.
It's just like
now. Yeah, it's
then
just
it was
like,
just,
that's
hey, this
the real
small
fun.
thing
That's...
on some peripheral booth that is like
right. And we're just
like a no-name peripheral booth too.
Oh, that's my game. I'm here to work for the peripheral people, but I'll tell you about my game.
Great.
She's like, yeah,
this is so great.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, we want to hear all about this game. Anyway, I mean, I like that stuff. So I mean, now that may be like the 2nd day type thing. Where it's just like, yeah, you get all your first news out of the way. 2nd day is you're exploring. Obviously, you're still gonna have meetings, but I mean, if you can keep that one light, that wouldn't be too bad. And then your mixed day, have that meeting heavy. Like the less time you can spend on the floor, the better. And then, honestly, if you're a good businessman, like we are not, you're still there the 4th day, and you're just behind doors somewhere else. But
yeah,
I do like this format a lot better. Not having to push past people that have no idea or any
restraint,
tact. It needs tact. They just don't. That's the big thing. It's just like, because I'm fine with sharing. It's not like it's some exclusive club. It's not a big deal, but it's just like, if we're trying to film, if we're trying to talk to someone, don't shove, push, do whatever and stuff like that. Don't open random doors. Don't steal shit. Like, it's just like, stop it. Like, go get that psychiatrist, man. You need some help.
And they have talked about making like entire halls and areas for just industry, no matter what. So like, I forget, it's not the south. It's like that central hall that you have that's just off of the West Hall.
The concourse,
Yeah, the concourse, that's it. Yeah, that like something like that, where the concourse, it would be for industry only. Hopefully they've like, because that one primarily was industry only anyways. Like anybody that walked in there with a gamer pass had no idea what the fuck to do in the area, because it was just straight up just closed rooms after closed rooms all the time. There would still be people, like Jason was saying, where they just walk in and just open doors. And I mean, we did that, but we also had meetings. So we'd walk up and we'd be like, well, it's 3:35. We've been out here for 5 minutes. I guess we'll see. And then we walk in and be like, hey! But yeah, I'm hoping that this continues to trend forward in that way. So that should be good. All right. We're through news. So
we did it.
Let's move on to Vidimo games. Who would like to go first?
Chris, you got a few because you've been playing a whole bunch of games. I have a few that I'm going to be quick about. Eric, do you have a whole bunch?
I got a couple. One that was a review copy that I got to talk about.
All right. I don't have a review copy,
so it's not really that big.
Yeah, let's
and we talked about Genshin a lot too.
We did Genshin pretty good. I'll be really quick with mine because none of mine are review copies, and I only have one that I beat. So let me burp real quick first. And
no burping.
First and foremost, I jumped into Disney Dreamlight Valley. I was just like, I love Animal Crossing because I play it. I'm like, why not? Let's check it out. First of all, their way that they decided to support a widescreen on a monitor was absolute bullshit. It looked like dog shit. It was just stretching. It was all that they did, but they didn't even like stretch anything else. They stretched it like UI and everything. So it was just like, it looked like mud right away. So I was already kind of pissed. And the pacing of it is literally baby's first video game. It was just like, oh my God, let me like do anything, like let me through whatever. And I thought Animal Crossing was bad and how they just like handheld with you a little bit. You can sell stuff to make money. Oh, surprising. It's just like, hey, if you talk to people, you might, learn something about them. And you go over here, you can pick stuff up. If stuff is things, and things are good, and things make everyone happy. And here's the happiest place where we are, trying to remember all of our memories that are happy times. Just like, I just wanted to know what kind of rock this was. You didn't have to go into like a 15 minute speech about memories here, buddy. But
life story.
Hey, rocks have memories.
It was unplayable to me. I was annoyed, bored immediately, and didn't even like want to continue at all. Like my motivation was just like not there. The idea of building these worlds with Disney characters just has me like, it doesn't feel like I have a lot of control over it. Like, it's just like, yeah, of course, build up whatever you want, design and decorate your room and put up these lands and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to like put Moana in like, full goth attire and Tim Burton and stuff like that and something like that. So it's just like, you don't have a lot of control.
I'm definitely not happy about that.
I know, right? So it was just, it looked ugly. I didn't like it. Very, very, like, I don't, like, this is going to sound weird because I know games are predominantly very male forward. Like, obviously, Call of Duty, they're not making these advertisements or these games for women. Shocker. I know, I'm blowing a lot of your minds right now. Even though women are welcome to play. That's all I'm trying to say. This game's just like that too. But it is very much just like, you're a girl, right? Like, you're a girl. Like, but you're a girl, right? Like, not even like you could be like totally gay and like into this stuff, and that's totally fine too. But they were very much like, no, you're a girl. Like the cutscenes, all this stuff like that. I was just like, that's a girl. Like, I picked the guy. Like, with that, it was a girl. Like, it's just like, don't worry about it. You're still a girl. Don't worry. But you can be a guy. But you're a girl. You're a girl. It was weird. It was weird.
That's weird localization at that point. Then,
yeah. Dude, it's super weird in how he did a lot of this stuff. It was just like they went out of their way. Because it's not like the game's overly complex or overly graphical or anything like that. Like, it wouldn't have been that hard to just put my character in the screen or what I just picked out to be part of the cutscene. And I'm talking about beginning game stuff. It's just like, why would they not just take the extra 2 seconds to be like, those shoes go there, not this pair of shoes? Like, it's just like, it was weird stuff like that. It was just like, oh, okay, it made me not feel like that I'm part of this game. Anyway, I digress. Played it for 5 minutes, absolutely hated it. Not my cup of tea. Like Animal Crossing, love Animal Crossing. This one wasn't for me. I then spent a little time playing Ayuden Chronicle Rising. It is
I have that downloaded and still haven't started playing it yet, but I have it and I keep looking at it. I'm like, do I want to start a JRPG?
It is super beautiful. It totes the line of JRPG. Did you ever play like Valkyrie Chronicle back in the day? It's very close to that, I feel like, where it's just like, it's not so like your RPG elements, your battles are not like turn-based by any way, shape, or form, except for like larger battles. And then it's more of like your button presses of what you're doing to build off combos. So it's not like you're selecting someone like, hey, you do this attack and all that stuff like that. You have to do like, all right, if I want to do a heavy attack with this character, I have to go square, triangle, and then the third attack with that character will be a heavy attack. And so you have to like memorize like button combos of what you're wanting to build up on, and certain button combos will be better about other things. Very pretty game, very pretty game. The storyline's okay so far. I haven't gotten too far into it. Very repetitive of what you go in the back and around for the first hour or two. It opens up a little bit more after the very long intro. But unvoiced, obviously, it's small game and all that stuff like that. But the storyline is just I don't care, and the game's at least fun to play. But I'll leave it at that because there's enough here for it to be enjoyable. The sequel's coming out here very soon, which prompted me to play this one because I was like, it's a very pretty game. I wouldn't mind playing it some more. So there's something to be there. You do run into a magical girl. She does the trope immediately fantastically well. So I at least had fun with that.
Nice. I mean, that's nice. She does the trope. That's what's necessary. That's what we want. So
exactly. She's got to be over the top magical girl if she's going to be magical girl. And it's just like, yeah, you're a giant magical girl and you're a huge fucking brat. So perfect. Perfect. I will say that my biggest surprise was a Kickstarter game called the Procession to Calvary, and it is about a warrior in the Great Holy War, winning the war and the war ending. And all she wants to do is kill more people, and so the rulers are just like, hey, war's over, you can't kill any more people. She's just like, well, did you kill the last boss? And he's like, no, I didn't kill the last boss. And he's like, well, would you want the last boss dead? And he's just like, well, yeah, it'd be nice. And she's like, mission accepted. I'm going to go kill the last boss. So
it's very different than the Road to Calgary, which is it was the Maple Wars, and they mined all the maple out of the trees. And they're like, hey, did you mine the maple out of the great tree? And they're like, no. And you're like, would you like it?
So the thing that's interesting about it is a point and click adventure, 100% just puzzles and moving around and interacting with characters and talking to them and solving their adventures to move on through. Very short game, was able to beat pretty much everything in 2 hours, maybe closer to 4, just because I played over a few different plates because it was so funny. It is very much a comedy. It doesn't take any part of it serious, and it is pretty much done 100% with oh God, what is it called? It was on the tip of my tongue. Dominion free. What is it called?
Consensual?
No. Where all the like when it's been around for so long, it's now public domain. There it is. Public domain. Everything was public domain, art and music. So it's with these great classical pieces of art from like the Renaissance period and with music, classical music and stuff like that. So everything's done with public domain stuff, and it's all animated very crazy crudely. Think like the cutscenes in Monty Python where you'd have like God like speaking. It's 1000% like that. Where it's just like all just like clip art with like major art pieces and stuff like that. So it's pure comedy and dry comedy and breaking the fourth wall all over the place. And murder if you want or not, and all kinds of stuff like that. Smacking people. My favorite thing was that you could always smack people and they would have interesting things to say about that. And again, short game, fun game, bloody game if you want it to be. Like, it's just like, holy shit, this is very bloody. But very short. And
I mean, Renaissance art, that would not surprise me then at that point.
Well, I mean, just like the stuff that you would do to.
I'm just saying, like Renaissance art though, it's like that, like stick with that aesthetic. Yeah, like blood, lots of blood.
I mean, there's this one scene where you're walking through a field and it's one of these pieces of art. I'm not an art guru, so I can't like plot off what the artist was or the scene was, but it was just literally a scene of a bunch of people being crucified, and they are all just screaming bloody murder. So the whole thing, you're just walking through this like scene, like in the game, it's just like constantly, and like everyone's just like you're talking to is just like, I love the birds right now and shit like that. And it's just like that's you can't hear anything except for them all screaming. But doesn't take itself too seriously. A lot of fun, ridiculous.
Well, the crucifixion. Okay, so now I'm pulling it up. The Procession to Calvary is a painting too.
Right. Oh yeah.
So and it is the Procession of Calvary
it's
is
the main.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the Procession of Calvary is the main character.
Wait, the Procession of Calvary is I believe it's the Crucifixion of Christ.
Oh, maybe.
Oil on panel by Netherlandish Renaissance artist Peter Bruegel the Elder of Christ carrying the cross set in a large landscape. So the crucifixions, that totally makes sense now.
Totally makes sense. There's definitely a lot of fucked up shit, but it was fun. It was entertaining. Totally original storyline. There's no actual historic value to any of this stuff.
Is this on Game Pass?
It was. It's no longer on Game Pass.
It's one of the ones that dropped in September.
Yeah. But it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. It was goofy and silly. So, I mean, I would definitely give it a solid 8 out of 10, just because it's a short, little fun game and doesn't take anything too seriously. So I won't take it too seriously either. It's a lot of fun.
All right. I'll go next since Chris has more games than me. Obviously, we talked about Genshin. I played Genshin. Venti's back. Yay. You've got faster version of Razor. Yay. One of the things that I will talk about, though, is they did some really cool stuff with the sand animations in the area. And like the way that the movements of your characters interact with the sand completely is done extremely well in the newer area. So every character, like if you want to watch their footwork as they do it, you can track their footwork in their footprints in the sand. And not just footprints, like when a character drags a foot or drops a knee down to the ground, all that information like transposes into the sand, and you can see all the movements in there, especially like spins and everything like that. You can track it all throughout the sand, which is really cool. We actually did that for like when I was streaming it. We did it for like a solid 10 minutes. We pulled out different characters to watch their footwork and see the differences between them. And some of the ones that like you never notice, like that they drop down to one knee and then make a swipe with it and then like do like an upward strike or something like that. So it was really cool to see that. And then you get characters like Kokomi, who just sits there and keeps like floating backwards, shooting off water balls. And you just end up with like dainty footprint, dainty footprint behind, because she just floats. That one I chuckled at. But like even my wife came in and I was showing her, I was like, check this out. She's like, wow, that's pretty cool. Like you just see all the footprint or all the foot movements, which was awesome. Oh, look, we're being raided by Bulldog. Welcome in, Raiders. Thank you for the raid, Bulldog. We were probably about 20 minutes away from raiding into you. But welcome in. Okay, so beyond Genshin, though, I did actually devote quite a bit of time on stream to Construction Simulator that we got from our good friends at Home Run PR.
That's right.
And I will say this. The first 2 play sessions were kind of a slog. Controlling a lot of like especially the track-based construction vehicles is a pain in the ass, because through the setup of controls, you will use WASD, you will use arrow pads, you will use the number pads on your 10 key and your mouse in order to move various like pieces and everything like that throughout the game. It takes a lot of getting used to the controls and everything like that, what part raises and lowers varying articulating pieces. And it makes sense that it takes so much with it because there's so many working parts in there. It kind of makes me want to like just have like a 2 joystick thing like you see in a lot of like the big construction things, and be like, I'll just use this instead, and then I can control everything either with my left hand or my right hand that way. Keyboard and mouse is a little hard. Dreams told me that playing with controller is even worse. She did not recommend it at all. She's like, I tried it for like 10 minutes and said no.
I'm actually really surprised by that. I would have figured that it maybe would have been better.
I would have thought so. And realistically, like the movements of all those things is not too bad on the keyboard. The worst thing is trying to drive a like a semi or a dump truck or a cement truck on open roads and possibly obey the street sign, like the street laws, but you only have full throttle or nothing. That's it when you're playing it on a keyboard. So that part's a little tough. But beyond that, it was fun. Getting through the slog of completing through the main story quest and whatnot to unlock multiplayer, well worth it. This game really is a lot more fun with another person, especially when you're talking like big ass projects, like building an apartment complex, repaving an entire road, things like that. Much easier and more fun to do with a second person. One person operates this, you guys coordinate with what it is that you're going to do, or even like a third or a fourth person. So highly recommend that, like, just play through, learn how to control the different pieces, and then just look at this as like a fun thing to play with your friends. It's definitely a lot more fun, especially if you just don't take it seriously. If one person takes it seriously though, and everybody else is not, you're gonna have major problems. I swear. You get that one person that's like, no shenaniganery. And I did, when we were doing it, like, Dreams kept messing around, like, when we were doing the pumping for concrete. And at one point I'm like, okay, you need to stop doing that because I really don't want to make another trip to the concrete plant. Like, we're at like 85% filled on this. I don't want to make one more trip just because you're having fun. But beyond that, though, it's like, you're like placing things in different areas. One of the drawbacks for that is that it is hard to, like, it is hard to do other parts of the job while somebody else is still doing like step 2. So if you're on step 2 of it and you look ahead and you're like, okay, well, we're going to need this like lumber or, you know, this equipment to come over here from for step 3, you could go ahead and start getting that together. But then when you get to the construction site, you look around and you're like, where am I supposed to put it? Because there's a very specific place that you're supposed to place everything when you do it. And you're just like, I don't see any of like the spots to do it because it doesn't highlight them for you until you've completed step 2 completely. So,
geez.
That was a bit of a problem. Another problem is that routinely with the backhoes, we did get them stuck a few times. So much so that like they knew that this was going to be a problem, and there's a reset button for anything. You just hit reset and it'll automatically move it to an area just outside of the construction area, and then you just move it back into position. But beyond that, it's fun. It's got some issues, obviously. All the simulators have issues for it. But they do a good job of making it meticulous, but not making it so meticulous that it's unplayable. Like if you're paving a whole parking area, you don't have to flatten every single square inch perfectly. There's a degree of imperfection that is allowed to where it just hits 100% and then it just completes it. It's like, you're done. Don't worry about it. You don't have to worry about like doing this exactly perfect for it. So they did a good job of making it so that it's more accessible and less like stuck in the weeds for playing the game. I played quite a bit of it on stream. I think good enough that I can give it a score. It's going to be weighted because obviously it's a simulator. Not everybody's for a sim. So this is weighted on a sim game, and it'll be an 8 out of 10. It's very playable. Highly recommend that if you like simulation games, like this is a good one to pick up for it. And it's definitely it has a lot more going for it than a lot of the other ones that you can find out there because of so much different machinery that you actually get to use. And they're all pretty true to life. And you get different brands too. So if you want to be a good old American and only buy Cat and Mac, you can do that. And you can start off as both EU and American. And then when you play multiplayer, it doesn't matter what nationality you're in, because construction is universal. Everybody, highly recommend though. If you love any simulator, especially like farming sims and stuff like that, for it, highly recommend picking it up. It's like big giant Legos, but then also playing in dirt. And that's it. Feel. Yeah, that's it. I put a good amount of time into that game in Genshin, so that's about it for it. All right, Chris, you had a bunch of games that you were playing, so
yeah,
let's go ahead and get this wagon
being in a
started.
lull to playing a lot, and some review copies too, or preview-ish. So one game I did play the demo for the Entropy Center, which comes out November 2nd, I think, is when it releases.
That sounds right.
But
yeah, right before Extra Life Game Day.
Yep. If you ever played Portal, you'd be familiar with this game. Instead of making portals, your gun can rewind time so by about up to 30 seconds. So you kind of solving puzzles with your gun that has a little AI assistant that talks to you. So that's
it
where
doesn't scream at you like Rick and Morty does it.
No.
Okay, good.
So it's a little more tense. It just kind of chips in a little bit here and has some kind of humor in there to it. So rather than having some lady talk to you over a loudspeaker, it's your gun kind of to learn some of that stuff. And you're on like this moon base where you're this kind of worker that's supposed to solve these puzzles to generate entropy to try to save the earth, but nobody's there. You kind of don't remember anything, and you're just trying to find everything. Everything's kind of overgrown and kind of crumbling a little bit, and you're trying to go through and...
Are you a box-shaped robot with treads?
No.
You should be. Should be.
Yes. But you started on the moon base, not on Earth. You're not one.
Oh. That's dumb.
But there are, looks like there's some box-shaped robots that, on the trailer at least, not in the demo, that might gonna be friends or enemies, but it's very much Portal vibes. So it's fun, it's intriguing. Some of the puzzles were pretty good. The demo last was about an hour, so there's some good playthrough with that. So I'm really looking forward to that one. I did also play some Gundam Evolution with Bulldog Omega.
Who rated into us again.
Yep. And so if you're familiar with Overwatch, it's Overwatch with Gundams. It's free to play. So it's pretty fun. So you choose through different kind of Gundams, kind of run through that as your kind of different kind of roles. Like I like this one where you can drop down a turret, and the turret stays up even if you die. They have to actually kill the turret. So there's one time when I was dead and waiting to respawn, my turret actually got me a 2-kill streak. I was like, I'm sitting here in the respawn, I'm like, oh, kill.
It might be the only 2-kill streak that I got the entire time, but that was my turret.
That's skill.
I mean, I think my highest kill streak in my entire playthrough was maybe like 8 or. So
hey, it's all about the placement. Like you put it in a good placement, so you know that works.
So, and that one can also do some kind of repairs and stuff like that. But yeah, it's enjoyable. It's free, so might as well. So I was like, yeah, might as well download, try it out with you. I had fun with it. It's good playing with friends. Then getting into my review copy games. Did get a review for Destiny's Sword, which was just the first mission so far, as it's kind of building up to launching out in early access, I believe. But that's best way I could describe it is kind of like a visual novel type game, sci-fi. So you're a commander, so you have your team, and you're probably a protectorate. So in this first mission, on this planet, there's kind of like a bunch of protests going on, and maybe some kind of rebels in there trying to kind of start some shit, because as you know, in protests, there's some
rebels starting shit? No.
Starting to infiltrate those peaceful protests and start some shit. Kind of make it kind of worse than it necessarily has to be. And so the kind of security forces, which I think seem to be like corporate security forces on there, are not doing such. They're kind of overwhelmed a little bit, and they're not treating everything kind of good. They're kind of dicks. And so you're kind of coming to help, and as you're kind of talking through some of the stuff, you can also kind of hear like your guys also refer to them as secure dorks, secure dicks. Like, so, you know, there's not still that good, but as you kind of get down there, you're going through, kind of running some of these protests, and you can kind of handle it different kind of ways. Do you like, hey, no, you're allowed to be peaceful protesters. We're not here for that. We're here just to kind of make sure everything's kind of going safe and help everything kind of along. Make sure, you know, the secure dicks aren't getting out of hand either.
Make sure your dicks are secure.
Yep. Or you can be a dick yourself and just be like, no, raise your weapons, kind of get the fuck out of here. but there is some like terrorist activity going on too, as you know, kind of using some of the protests as kind of cover and kind of listen up, so you have that some combat there where you can kind of make choices there, and also as you kind of deal with your team as well, you kind of talk to them, kind of learn the different traits. Like there's one girl who's really just kind of just wants to fucking kill and go, and it's kind of aggressive. But then you also kind of learn some of their personal issues too. Like you have one of your teams you kind of learn is kind of does a lot of drugs, so you gotta kind of deal with that. One person's kind of got some depression, kind of stuff that, so you're kind of working through these kind of different kind of issues as you these people are actually kind of humans. But it's pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to get some more time on that one. But that's Destiny Sword. Another one was Heart of Myriad, which that one is an RTS, a voxel-based RTS, with where you're, so you're kind of like this like wizard, and you got your kind of base. It's not micromanaged. So you start out with your base, you got your little wizard tower, and then there's little different kind of places where you kind of can put your buildings. So it'll be like, all right, this can either be like storage for mining, this can be a house, or like a blacksmith kind of type of building, or this is like a tower. This is a defense area, or this is your barracks, your archery, and those are at set locations, but you can kind of drag those within your base area, and then you just kind of build up your army. There's sometimes you can have like little areas where you can set like a certain type of soldier type to go to defend, but if you get attacked, otherwise they'll just be like in a little tent, and you kind of move that tent around your base area, and if you get attacked, they'll just go and automatically defend. So you don't. So again, you're not micromanaging that. If you go attack another base, you just kind of go over, kind of hit, we're going to attack, and then you can select how many units you want of the different types to go. And then you have control over their formation, which is basically, hey, attack these things, these people, or these buildings, don't, and you can unselect things. Like, so when first acting, I pretty much just deselect everything except for defensive, as far as structure-wise, because for defensive structures and the mage tower, because those are the ones that are going to fight back. And then they just kind of go, and you don't have to kind of worry about it. They'll fight, and then you can set whether they flee or not. But other than that, it's just not kind of micromanaged. It's pretty fun so far. I've been enjoying my time with it. They do have map editor, and the kind of version I have right now, kind of just basically like first few missions. They don't have the skirmish yet, but it's one I look forward to kind of more as well. I'm really kind of enjoying my time. And then finally, I got a early preview code for Marauders, which is just launched this week and out in early access. But if you ever played Escape from Tarkov, it's that but in space.
I was gonna say, yeah, this one's pirates. Tarkov in space, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So you kind of, before you go and like you're in the kind of main menu area, you got your shop where you can sell things or buy gear. It every like 15 minutes or so swap out with a new kind of vendor with some new stuff you can buy. You can craft stuff with the materials you got, and as you kind of level up, that's how you can use that to unlock different recipes. So you can build different kind of gear. You got your inventory, so you can set your gear before you go out, and there's some daily kind of contracts you can accept to get some money, some experience. And then as you kind of go out, you get into like this randomized world, because there's like a terraformer, there's like a mine, a prison, and a naval base. And you kind of come up and you're in like your little ship, and you can get bigger ships as you kind of unlock them and kind of craft them, but you're kind of basically ship you go. You got a little turret on there, you kind of fly through, and then you can attack other player ships. You got escape pods, so you can kind of board those other ships as well. Or if you're in your ship, you can actually go into the space station or kind of building, go out there, fight against NPC people there trying to defend the area, and against other players who are trying to loot as well. Get in there, loot, grab your shit, get out, and escape through like a jump gate kind of thing in there. So,
how big are the ships that you're attacking onto? Are they like fairly large, or is it very much just like, hey, there's like really 3 areas you have to get through? And like, is there any like is there any stealth or like hidden aspect to this, or is it just like you're going to be running and gunning the second you get in there?
So usually when you kind of first get in there, you're not running into necessarily anyone. As you kind of go through your ship's airlock into the place, you're like, okay, I'm not immediately gonna get fired upon normally, unless there's another player kind of sitting there kind of waiting for you. But you'll eventually kind of find like either an NPC or a player fairly quickly. Just kind of go through, but you can kind of sneak around. Obviously, if you kind of crouch, you're being a lot more quiet. So you kind of hear the footsteps and all that kind of shit, which is footsteps are pretty loud, or hearing gunshots going off because. And you kind of go through but I mean, I've enjoyed my time with it so far. I think I got about a little over 8 hours in this weekend, on between Sunday morning, Saturday, on stream. I think I did like 6 hours of stream on it. Playing with a couple buddies. It's fun with buddies, with friends. Playing solo, you can do it, but it's not as fun. Because obviously multiplayers are always better with friends.
Yes.
Especially when you're
running. Do you have to play with randos, or can you solo loot?
You can solo.
Oh, okay.
You can solo, or you could possibly join up with a random crew. I never did a random crew. I just either soloed or with friends. So the way you can kind of like join up with your friends is you make a crew. And you can set like a password, name and password for that, and then you can just go search and then enter that password and join your crew. So that's kind of easy way to kind of do it. But it's fun so far. It's early access, so I mean it's not perfect. I think there might be some balancing, some stuff they need to do, and just kind of bug fix. It's running on Unreal Engine 4, as it did kind of crash on me once. So hey, UE4 crash report. So there's potential there for them to eventually possibly upgrade to Unreal Engine 5. So.
And they could be, nice. They could have that on their roadmap even before it actually launches too. Then,
yeah, because the UE4 to UE5 switch isn't too bad. So that'd bring in some improvements as well, as far as graphical wise, and that's fun. I've been enjoying my time with it, but yeah, so that's pretty much all I've gotten for the most part. I did play a little bit of FIFA 23. Just because.
Why not?
Why not? It's been a while since I played a FIFA game.
Because you're a soccer boy.
Yep, and with Game Pass, you get like an EA Play like base subscription, so you get 10 hours of gameplay before you have to actually buy the game. So I haven't paid for it yet, so I can still play for up to 10 hours and get some enjoyment out of it. One of the things, so I did create an own player to start a career with. And so one of the things in the career mode with your own kind of player is, so you can do up like 3 different training sessions a week to kind of level up your character, get some experience points, get perks, and kind of spend in like different kind of skill trees and different kind of areas that kind of boost your stats up. With that, you get like your paycheck, which you can, there's 2 things you can spend that. You can buy stuff. Like one thing's like a trampoline, which will kind of give you a training boost and help your jumping a little bit. You can buy frivolous shit that doesn't really help you out, but gives you like certain ego points, I guess, to try to build your character up. Like or dance lessons, kind of stuff like that. There's investments where you can drop some money on that could also, that will kind of make you money. Yeah, that's one that are the ones you can kind of get. There's investments. So I mean, you spend a lot of money, but we will make money off it. One of which is invest in an esports team.
Can't you play as Ted Lasso's team now too?
Yes. So they do have AFC Richmond from, so from the show Ted Lasso, and you can actually have Ted Lasso be your coach. And in addition to like the investment in just kind of buying stuff. You can also, there's another one where it is like a kind of like speech kind of thing, like a, so like the first thing you do is, as you kind of join the team, is, and each one kind of gives you kind of different kind of area for like your character's personality traits, I guess. One is you come, hey, better watch out, team hasn't come for gun for your spot, kind of like egotistical, kind of maverick kind of thing. Another one is, hey, I'm really looking forward to kind of working with you guys, kind of being like a kind of team player, kind of good guy. And then the other one is, hey, glad to be here. Gotta go. Don't have time to waste on this bullshit. I need to go train. Work needs to be done. Don't have time to really be dealing with the press conference kind of stuff.
This bullshit and ego train. I love it.
There's also another free game I downloaded called Omega Strikers, which best way I can describe that is like a MOBA Rocket League kind of thing. So it's basically kind of like Rocket League, like soccer. We got like 3 players for each team, and you can have special abilities. You can hit the other team's players as well to kind of beat them up and try to knock them out, or kind of knock them out of the arena, or just kind of like stun them for a while as you try to score goals and stuff like that. I played a couple rounds of that. It's kind of fun, but that's about it.
All right, that's
productive
a lot of games.
Week, man. Productive week, yeah. Jesus.
Productive couple of weeks going there, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
In all the games.
Well, that's
now
it.
We got Steam Next Fest, so that'll be even more demos.
Oh God, that's right. Steam Next Fest started. All right. Well, we'll talk about that on the next one.
Last night.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, everybody, for joining us for IBIF First Podcast. We've gone through everything that we had and then some. Talked about being consensual with everything too, so make sure that you have consensual labor, everyone. But we know that you have the chance to choose which podcast you listen to, in which case you may have chosen the wrong one, but that's okay. We're still here for you. You can find us at ibetafirst.com, which is our main website, and you can go to ibif.co, which will lead you to all of our podcasts that we have, all 3 of them. We have iBeta First, Cutscene, and Patch Notes. Cutscene is our anime watch-along podcast, and Patch Notes is where we talk with video game developers about what makes them tick. Like, you know, you want to talk about the video game, but really we want to talk to the developer about them as well, and what their whole process is, and why it is that they're doing this, and why they're so passionate about it. Because, I mean, let's be honest, dealing with the internet, you got to be real fucking passionate about the game that you're making in order to make it, because otherwise you're just going to hate every single fucking moment of it. But you can find us. We do live stream, as we talked about earlier, twitch.tv/ibitfirst, where you can watch us play our games as well as watch the podcasts Monday or Tuesday nights, depending on when we've got things that push things out for it. But we do definitely do them weekly so that you can watch us and laugh at us. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're just laughing at us.
Yeah,
fine. You can also find us Facebook IBITFirst.com, Twitter IBITFirst, Instagram IBITFirst, and that is where you will find everything. We're primarily more active on Twitter than any of the other ones for it, and even that's kind of a stretch as far as what the word active means. but you can find us on Twitter as well. But definitely, find us there. You can also email us, Jason, Eric, Chris, eat a dick at ibitfirst.com. Anything that you send will go into
Consensual at ibitfirst.com.
Consensual, yes. Consensual labor at ibitfirst.com will definitely get you there as well. That will get to all of us, and we would definitely love to hear from you. If you have any questions, you want to just tell us that we're a bunch of jerks, whatever it is that you feel like is necessary, you can do that. You can also follow us on our charity efforts. We do have Extra Life Game Day coming up on November 5th, where we will be doing 24 hours straight of gaming. Probably see a lot of delirium at roughly about the 22-hour mark for us. But please, join us there. If you can't join us on that day, you can always donate for us. Donate with us by going to our Extra Life page. And it's extra life or charity.ibitfirst.com, right, Jason?
IBIFirst.com/charity.
Ah, there we go. Damn it. /charity. IBIFirst.com/charity in order to get to our Extra Life setup. We also have the first charity Throne account, where 100% of the items that you purchase, they don't ship to us. They ship directly to Phoenix Children's Hospital. There's tons of stuff on there for kids age infant to 18, because children are people up to 18 years old. Everybody, like, you think about it and you're like 16-year-old, that should be going to a regular doctor. No, they still go to pediatricians and they still go to pediatric hospitals, and they get stuck there just the same as everybody else. But they don't want, a Winnie the Pooh stuffed animal. They want something else. So you're going to find some things like gift cards and stuff like that on there. But definitely everything that you can help with, the better. They have funny money and Monopoly money that they give to the kids when they have to spend time in the hospital, where they go into a store and buy things for it. And they just let them get anything that's in there. So definitely, if you have the ability to do that, go to throne.ibiditfirst.com or ibiditfirst.com/throne, and you can donate on our charity Throne account. You can also just do !charity or !throne in our Twitch chat in order to get information for all of those pieces as well. But we hope to see everybody on November 5th for Extra Life Game Day. We are going to have quite a few things set up for it. Chris is working on a lot of stuff with some people, but we'll share some more information as that comes out. But without further ado, we can't end any podcast without Chris saying
bye-bye.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. The yip at the end.
Recording stopped.
The yip at the end. All right, we are going to raid out, everybody. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining in. Especially thank you to Bulldog Omega for raiding into us. If you're still here, Bulldog, I'm pretty certain that you're here, but you just have us on really, really low while you're doing other things. But we are going to raid into our old friend Triss Dove. We haven't raided into her in a while. She is currently playing Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. So let's everybody get ready to say hello to Triss Dove. It's been a little while since I've actually been in one of her streams. She is currently a red slime as her VTube avatar. So let's get ready for that. All right, thanks a lot, everybody, for joining us, and we will see you guys tomorrow for more Vidimo games. Bye-bye.
Vidimo games.